Origami Lucky Star, the Tanabata festival in Japan. What is Tanabata? Tanabata is the festival of the star-crossed lovers held every year in many parts of Japan between July 7th and August 7th. Different regions hold it on different days. It is like the Japanese version of Valentine's Day. The story of Tanabata is a combination of a Chinese legend with ancient regional Japanese stories and customs. Different regions have different variations of the story. I will share the variation that I found most prevalent. Long ago, the king of the sky, Emperor Tente, had a young and beautiful daughter. She was an incredibly gifted seamstress, meaning she could make clothing very well, and she also was an excellent weaver who could make cloth out of thread fibers. Because of Orihime's incredible talents, her father gave her the job of making the clothing for all of the gods. She worked tirelessly at the task, weaving and sewing for long, lonely hours until she became sad and empty inside. The Sky King felt sorry for his daughter and determined that she needed the companionship of a husband. He looked across the heavens for a boy who had good values and would treat his daughter right. One day, he spotted a good-hearted cow herder named Hikobashi. He decided to arrange for the two to meet. Upon meeting, the two instantly fell in love with each other and wanted to marry. The two young lovers enjoyed each other's company so much that they spent all of their time frolicking together and neglecting their jobs. Soon, the gods' clothing was frayed and worn, and the cows were injured and neglected, wandering all over the heaven in the most inconvenient manner. The Sky King was quite angry because of the irresponsibility of Orihime and Hikobashi, so he used his incredible powers to separate the two on either side of the river through the sky, so they couldn't see each other anymore. Hikobashi went back to tending the cow herds, but was so distraught that he constantly gazed across the incredible sky river, hoping to get a glance of his love. Orihime went back to weaving and sewing, but was so distraught that she could do nothing but cry as she wove. Orihime's tears softened her father's heart, and he determined that he would let the two lovers meet once a year on the 7th day of the 7th month, as long as they promised to keep doing their work. The two lovers were overjoyed and ran to each other, but the river in the sky still separated them. Luckily, the magpies agreed to make a bridge for them as long as it didn't rain. So every year on the day of Tanabata, if there is no rain, Orihime and Hikobashi get to spend the night together. If it rains, they must wait until the next year to see each other again. The Tanabata is a loom used for weaving in ancient times. It is generally the shape of a shelf, thus it is called Tana, meaning shelf, and Bata, meaning loom, or the shelf loom. Orihime is the Japanese name for the brightest star in the Summer Triangle constellation, the Star of the Weaver. You can see it circled in red here. Hikobashi is the Japanese name for the second brightest star in the Summer Triangle constellation, the star of the cowherder. There it is. The Great Sky River is the Milky Way galaxy. You can see how it kind of looks like a river. You have probably heard before that we live in the Milky Way galaxy. The galaxy is shaped like a large, mostly flat disk with spiral arms. If you could see our galaxy from the top, it would look something like this. You can see the bright center with the spiral arms coming out. Our sun is a tiny dot of light on one of those spiral arms of the Milky Way galaxy. We're kind of towards the edge of the galaxy, as you can see in the picture. See the little yellow sun? On a very dark night, you can look out at the sky and see the sideways view of one of the spiral arms of our galaxy. As the circle flattens, as the view changes, you can see how it becomes a straight line across the sky instead of a circle or an oval. The Milky Way has a slightly white and yellow milky look to it. What you are actually seeing is billions of stars lighting up clouds of dust and gaseous particles. In ancient times, people didn't understand about stars and galaxies, so they imagined that the light band across the sky was spilled milk or a river in heaven. That is where we get the name for our galaxy, the Milky Way. Tanabata is a legend that dates back 2,000 years. In old times, Japanese people would celebrate Tanabata by having poetry contests, writing verses as they gazed at the sky. About 400 years ago, the Japanese people started to celebrate Tanabata by writing wishes on long strips of paper and hanging them on bamboo branches. Here's an example of bamboo branches decorated with Tanabata strips of paper. Here's another example. Because having beautiful handwriting is so important to Japanese culture, many people would wish to learn calligraphy better. Calligraphy is a way of writing very pretty. Many girls would wish to become better at weaving or sewing clothing. Today, wishes often revolve around peace, happiness, love, beauty, harmony, and good fortune. Here you can see the calligraphy for all of those words. The belief is that if there is no rain on Tanabata, then the joy of the heavenly lovers at being able to meet will make the wishes come true. At midnight on Tanabata, the tanzaku, or the strips of paper with the wishes on them, are burned or floated away on the nearest river or set adrift in the ocean. Some areas have large Tanabata parades featuring people dressed like Orihime and Hikobashi. They also have drum bands, fan dancers, elaborate floats, floats. Even Mickey and Minnie Mouse get in on the action. Here, Minnie is dressed as Orihime and Mickey is dressed as Hikobashi. Children dress in costumes and participate in the parade too. The streets are decorated with thousands of tanzaku strips hanging from branches and from strings strung between the buildings. The streets are also full of festival food vendors selling special treats just for the occasion. You might find yummy foods like takoyaki, chunks of octopus meat served in steaming balls of dough smothered in layers of sauce and with mayonnaise and seaweed. Yakisoba, chow mein noodles stir-fried in flavorful sauce with meat, cabbage, and other vegetables and topped with pickled ginger root. Okonomiyaki, a large pancake stuffed with cabbage, meat, seafood, and bean sprouts. Yakitori, strips of chicken meat grilled on wooden skewers over an open flame and basted with soy sauce. Chirasi juicy, shrimp, cucumber, carrots, lettuce, corn, and tuna with rice laid out in a pattern to imitate the Milky Way in the sky. Do you notice how the carrots are cut like little stars? Amanogawa, sweet bean gelatin similar to tofu, molded to look like the Milky Way. While people still write wishes on strips of paper and hang them on bamboo branches, they also fold the papers into origami lucky stars to decorate their tables for the Tanabata dinner. Here's a jar full of Tanabata stars. People also give lucky stars as gifts. The lucky stars are supposed to express love for the recipient or bring the recipient luck in the next year. Lucky stars have different meanings depending on how many you give. 1 star means the only one. 2 stars means a happy couple. If you make it 99 stars, it means that the friendship may last forever. 101 stars means that you are the only one. If you give 365 stars, it means a whole year of blessings. 999 stars means endless love. 1,314 stars means eternity of love. And a full jar of stars brings lots of good luck to the recipient. You can even use the lucky stars to pass notes to someone. Let's make a lucky Tanabata star. First, we'll start with a long strip of paper. This paper is 1/2 inch wide by 12 inches long. Loop the paper and pass one colored side over top of the other side at a right angle. Now tuck the tail into the loop you just made and gently pull the paper until it makes a knot, keeping the paper flat. Be sure that you don't pull so hard that the paper crunches up. When the paper is tight, press down the folds and it makes a nice pointed triangle on the top. Let's see that again. You want your knot to be close to the end of the paper so that the tail is not very long. And once your knot is tight, your paper should meet right at the corners. Now press it flat. One more time. Now the next step is to fold that tail over right at the edge of the paper so that it makes a nice straight line there. As you fold, the tail should be even with the bottom edge of your knot. If your tail is long still, fold it in half, and then you'll see a little pocket formed right where the tail comes out of the knot. That's the pocket you're going to tuck the tail into so that it's hidden. This takes a little bit of practice to get it in there carefully. Start by sticking the corners in and then rolling the paper until it lays flat. Your knot should now look like a perfect little pentagon with a long strip of paper sticking out. Let's see that one more time. Make sure your fold goes right along that edge. If your tail is shorter than mine, you can tuck it in without folding it over. But since mine was a little bit longer than the knot is wide, I had to fold mine in half. Now tuck your tail into the pocket. Feed one edge in, one point, and then the other, and then roll the paper between your thumb and your finger until it pushes right in there. There we go. One more time. Line up your tail along that bottom edge. Fold it over if it's too long. And tuck it right into that pocket there. Now the next step is to take the long end of the paper and fold it right along the edge of your knot. If you fold it directly on that edge, it will follow along the bottom edge of the knot. Then you can wrap it around the next edge, and the paper will lay along the next edge of the knot. Continue wrapping tightly around each edge of the knot, with the paper naturally falling right to the edge of the knot. Around and around you go. keeping your folds nice and tight. Until all your paper is wrapped around. Let's see that again. Fold right along the edge of the knot. Each time you fold the paper around the knot, the edge of the long paper tail will lie against a different edge of the knot. All the while it maintains that nice pentagon shape of the knot. One more time. Be sure to keep your wraps nice and tight. When your long tail has wrapped around so many times that now it's just slightly longer than the knot is wide, that's when you know it's time to stop. My tail is slightly longer than the knot is wide, so I'm going to fold the tip under again, just like I did in the first step with the short end of the tail. And just like in the first step, you can find a pocket right there by the end of that tip. You're going to carefully feed the two corners of that folded tail into that pocket, rolling with your fingers until it's completely inside, and then you can squeeze the edge to make it a fold. Let's see that again. There's the tail. Fold the tip down until it's less than the width of the knot. Find your little pocket. And tuck the points of the tail into that pocket. One more time. If your tail is not as long as the knot is wide, then you don't have to fold it over. But sometimes folding it just a little bit makes it a little thicker and easier to tuck into the pocket. We're going to shape our pentagon and turn it into a star. You do this by gently holding all of the edges of the pentagon and using your thumbnail to push in on each edge to make a V shape. If you're careful, the star will pop out on both sides, making it a poofy star, making it thick. Sometimes the paper refuses to cooperate with this process, and one side of the star will collapse inside, making a bowl shape. That's okay too. You can still use your star as a bowl. Now you can pinch each of the points of the stars to make each point a little bit sharper. There we go. Let's see that again. If you don't have a long enough fingernail to be able to push in the centers of each of the lines, you can also use a pencil or a butter knife or another object with a hard edge like a ruler. A cute little puffy star. These are also handy for the 4th of July. Independence Day celebrations with red, white, and blue stars all over the tables would be fun. One more time. The first corner is the trickiest. If you can get it to poof out as you push in the line, then the rest of the corners will most likely poof out too. Now before you start folding your next star, write a wish on your slip of paper. And then watch on July 7th to see if it rains. If it doesn't rain, you might just get your wish. There's a collection of cute little Tanabata stars. Now we'll hear the song about the Tanabata festival. It's called Tanabata Sama. Bamboo leaves are rustling and swaying at the eaves. Stars are twinkling like gold and silver sands. On colorful papers, I wrote my wishes. Stars are twinkling and gazing at me from the sky. This is my cat Asher. He decided to help me with the stars when I was all done. They make great kitty toys too. Uh-oh, I got caught.